Finally tonight, something amazing has happened at the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. Scientists there volunteered to raise a rare breed of chickens called Black Java. The museum hatched nearly 200 of the beautiful Java chicks when a miracle of science appeared from some of the other eggs, white Java chickens, a breed that has been extinct for nearly 50 years. Did you see any of the little white ones there?
Right there.
They're so big already.
They're growing up. Friday night, it's going to be a great weekend, isn't it? That's it for Channel 2 News at 11. Thanks for being with us.
Won't be eating any chicken. Good night.
Fisher Broadcasting.
This is a Nightline special series.
Our fictional scenario began last Friday. Terrorists breaking jars filled with anthrax spores on subway tracks during the afternoon rush hour. Thousands of commuters would have inhaled lethal doses of the bacteria without even knowing they'd been attacked. By today, a panicked exodus would have virtually emptied our fictional city. The final toll would be staggering. The United States would be changed forever. The experts say it's not a question of if this sort of thing will happen, it's simply a question of when. Tonight, bio-war, the terrible prospect of biological terrorism.
From ABC News, this is Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
As we conclude our week-long series on bioterrorism, let me stress again what I've been saying since we began. What we've been showing you is real in its potential. It is very likely to happen. Many civilian and military experts consider it an article of faith that it will take place. It's only a question of when. Having said that, what we've shown you and the conclusion to our scenario that we will show you tonight, those things have not happened. Ours is a fabricated disaster stitched together out of old news clippings designed to focus your attention on how unprepared many of our cities are. It is neither easy nor inexpensive to launch an effective anthrax attack. Producing the anthrax spores in sufficient number and in just the right size to do the kind of damage we've been describing over this past week requires some considerable expertise. When it happens, if it does, we may never know who did it, and it is unlikely that we as a nation would ever be the same after such an attack. Confronting the prospect, though, unpleasant as that may be, is the only way that an open society can prepare for it. And so we give you Day 7.
Friday morning, 1 week exactly since the attack. More than 42,000 people are dead. Very few among the sick recover. As the number of sick drops, the number of dead rises accordingly.
The city has had tens of thousands of people die. Children, some of them, or more likely, adults, parents. In a number of cases, these are going to be either both sets of parents or maybe a child with only one parent is going to suddenly find themselves orphaned. These children are going to need some special consideration.
Federal resources are now in place. After the panicked exodus from the city over the last few days, there now seem to be enough antibiotics for those that want them. Planes bringing in the anthrax vaccine are landing at a steady rate. Most of what is coming in is from existing stockpiles. One of the problems has been trying to increase the production of both antibiotics and vaccine. Some measure of order is finally being restored, but the overall situation is grim. By midday Friday, medical facilities are no longer being flooded with new cases. Medical workers exhausted, depressed, overwhelmed in every way, can at least now concentrate their efforts on making the last hours of the dying more comfortable.
Your new cases are going to taper off. They're not going to completely disappear. This disease has a way of popping up sometimes when you least expect it. Someone who you didn't think was sick, maybe he was exposed, and maybe he makes a decision, oh, well, I'm not sick, I'm going to stop taking my antibiotics, something like that. So you're going to have spots happening for quite a while. In fact, it could stretch out to months.
The death toll will reach 48,000 by Friday night and will hit a final total of just over 50,000 by Sunday. The remaining cases, the lucky ones, will recover, largely because their bodies, for one reason or another, have been able to fight off the disease on their own. By Friday night, the criminal investigation is still inconclusive. No credible claim of responsibility was ever discovered. The identity of the terrorists and their reasons for targeting the city remain a mystery. But if one of the stated goals of terrorism is to change the nature of the society it attacks, the team that infected the subway system only a week ago succeeded beyond their wildest dreams.
In response to an event like this, there are serious questions, I think, as to whether or not we would be able to continue business as usual. This is the kind of event from which new leaders arise. This is the kind of event that can redefine the way a country looks at itself. The possibility that we could see a number of civil liberties brushed aside in pursuit of not only the people that did this, but as a means of protecting the population from those who might come behind, cannot be dismissed as a fantasy. It would be a tremendous body of support for doing something like that. And civil liberties are sometimes endangered for far less meaningful reasons than the ones that we're considering here.
And no matter how persuasive its pleas, no matter how adamant its reassurances may be, the city government may never be able to restore a sense of confidence or security again. Some events change a place forever.
If you have gotten out of the city and you're healthy, if you've gotten out of the city and your family's healthy, not a terrific incentive to come back.
Finally, the incident winds to a close. More than 50,000 dead, a city virtually destroyed, a country shaken to its core values. Federal organizations finally go home, and local authorities reestablish control. But they, too, are permanently scarred.
If the city does everything right, they will not save everyone. And that's a tough realization for city and local officials to take. Mayors and police chiefs and fire chiefs and people in their business are not accustomed to the notion of acceptable losses. That's a military term. In fact, they shy away from that word for good reasons. Their attitude is you should try and save everyone, and if you do your job right, you can save everyone. Well, in this scenario, you can't save everyone. On the other hand, if everything falls into place, if the medical community is on its toes, if the police are quick and work well with their counterparts in the health community to figure out what happened, if the assets, the medical assets, the antibiotics in particular, are on hand and can be brought in on hand and put into play very quickly, you can save lives. Now, maybe you're only going to save 10 or 20% by doing everything right. But in this scenario, that's 10 or 15,000 people. Absolute win? No. But you can do more than just sit and let it happen.
When we come back, a final couple of rounds of conversation with the members of and the advisors to our city government.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by T. Rowe Price.
Come on, you can't stay another day? There he is.
I wish I could. I'm just so crazed with the new job. I don't have time to figure out my finances.
We went through the same thing when we got this house. And with the new baby coming, we needed help.
So what'd you guys do?
Called T. Rowe Price.
Really?
Yeah, it was great. It really helped simplify things. Give him a call.
Yeah, I will.
What a big brother's for, right? Come on, get out of there, you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
T. Rowe Price, helping people invest with confidence for over 60 years.
Frogs do not have the active response system. And it shows. Only the Alero has the active response system. 16 features working together to connect you to the road. Frog, without the active response system. Alero, with the active response system. Alero, by Oldsmobile. Start something.
Sunday on This Week, he's unpredictable, unrestrained, and he's talking politics. So what's he think of them? Sam and Cokie pin him on the issues. Sunday.
Where were you when man reached for the stars? When underdogs made the impossible come true? When we were reminded what liberty really means?
Every day, people are connected by what they see, hear, and feel on television. From the beginning, K2 has created connections with news, local programming, and community partnerships.
K2's connection to you in the next century will go beyond quality programs. It's a commitment to connect with you in new ways.
Giving you access to information beyond what you'd expect from any other local television station.
So wherever you are, we'll create pathways you need to always feel connected.
Because when someone says, "Where were you?" we want you to say, "Watching K2."
K2 Connects, connecting you to your world.
A few minutes now to talk about what can be done. During one of the breaks over these last few days, you mentioned to me that there are all kinds of planning sessions that take place, but often, not this mayor, but often the chief executives don't show up. They just send somebody else, if they send anyone at all. Anything you want to say to the mayor?
Right now there's the program that's in place. The Department of Justice, the Department of Defense, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, among others, have been working very closely with the 120 largest cities in the United States to try to help the police, fire, emergency services, and emergency medical folks become prepared to deal with a horrible event like the one that's just been described. Part of that training includes a class specifically for senior elected officials. And I think that it's critical that the officials recognize that even though they are very busy and it is an 8-hour class, there's a lot of benefit that could accrue to them by taking the time to attend and think through, as our mayor today has had to do, exactly what would confront them and their community if there were a terrorist attack. And that would give them some opportunities to begin to evaluate the resources they currently have in place and make some budgetary decisions over the next few years on how they might like to enhance those resources.
Let me just turn to the mayor. Mr. Mayor, I don't want to present this in the wrong way. You're one of the good guys. You came here to talk about this. Has this had any effect on your thinking?
I must tell you, I am astounded by the scenario that's been presented, and not only will I begin the preparations for planning for our city, or at least advance them to an acceptable level, but I will talk to my other colleagues around the country, because for 25 years in this country, we planned for a calamity that never happened, an atom bomb explosion that would rip the heart out of this country. And perhaps we've all been lulled into a false sense of security, but the chilling prospect is the anthrax or other biological terrorism almost inevitably will happen. So if we are not prepared, we'll be held to account for not taking the kind of steps that have been laid out today. So this has been very therapeutic, and I certainly think that for cities to not have in place a plan to address domestic terrorism, it would be folly, and we must move very aggressively, very quickly.
Commissioner, one of the things we have not talked about is that during that 7-day period that we laid out, there's just a natural tendency among people to want to blame someone.
Yep.
You know, immediately in the wake of the Oklahoma City bombing, a number of people of Middle Eastern background were stopped at airports or arrested or held. And that was, relative to what we've been talking about here, a minor event. I mean, it's horrifying to think of Oklahoma City as being a minor event.
Right.
What do you think would happen? I mean, just in that sense, in terms of vigilante action, people wanting some kind of a response?
I mean, there isn't just one focus of attention for a police chief. You've got the response, you've got the detective investigation, but this whole issue of scapegoating or looking for usual suspects, if you will. There's a tendency to throw out the Bill of Rights and go out and in posse fashion, or vigilante fashion, and just hang up the nearest whatever you're into. And so you've got to be really keenly aware and cognizant of that, and make sure that the police department and, of course, the mayor is right up front that any kind of lawless action, taking the law into your own hands, will never be tolerated. But you've got to be extremely sensitive to it, because the interesting part, because after Oklahoma City, my son had said to me, he says, "Oh, it must have been an Arab terrorist." And I said, "No, Sean, it was an Irish-American kid like yourself, Timothy McVeigh."
It's tough, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, we have spent 5 days on this, at least 5 broadcasts on this, and just scratched the surface. Tell us a few of the things that we haven't talked about, a few of the questions that have to be asked, a few of the answers we still need to seek.
From a public health point of view, the thing that we bring to the table in support of our mayor is the ability to detect that there's something going on in the first place, and then try to help with our law enforcement colleagues where it's occurred and what the boundaries of this whole thing is. Over the years, public health has enjoyed a good reputation, but not an awful lot of support. The kinds of things that will help us improve our ability to detect and respond are the same kinds of things that will assist us in our day-to-day things as well, our day-to-day normal outbreaks, if you will, of disease. So that's one of the things that we really need to pay attention to. But in my opinion, this is really a systems issue. I mean, there's medical perspectives to it, certainly law enforcement, but it's a systems issue. And so planning, as everybody here has said, is probably the linchpin to this whole thing.
Let me stop you on that note for a moment. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, I would like each of your concluding thoughts on perhaps what we haven't addressed and what we still need to address. Back in a moment.
I may look young, but I still suffer from hot flashes. I discovered a natural way to deal with it. New Healthy Woman from the makers of Monistat. Healthy Woman's a soy menopause supplement that helps relieve hot flashes in a natural way. New Healthy Woman.
Shanazar, please, has always talking trash.
Japan, baby!
He's always trying to get inside your head.
You don't know your elbows from your...
And sometimes, he can get downright nasty.
I bet you pay transaction fees on your mutual funds. Your mama pays full commission. You know how to calculate a PE ratio?
When we created a smarter kind of investment firm,
How diversified is your portfolio?
we created a smarter kind of investor.
You can't even spell Dow Jones. Woo! Okay, guys, let's get this right. To calculate a PE ratio, you divide the stock price.
E-tailers like Amazon.com choose priority mail. Shouldn't you?
Tonight, A.J. Langer and John Henson on the only show that dares to mix teachers, an affair, and the Virgin Mary.
I'm Mr. Politically Incorrect. I'm okay.
PI's coming up.
Are you saying she lied to me?
Harrison Ford and Kristen Scott Thomas discover a dirty little secret in Random Heart.
There's got to be something, some sign of something.
You'll never find what you're looking for.
And Saturday Night Live's Molly Shannon in the story of a girl who'd do anything for a Hollywood kiss.
This is everything I've ever wanted. Dreams can come true, you know.
Superstar this week on Roger Ebert in the Movies.
Saturday night at 6 on The Power of 2000.
Next summer, this will be a classical Chinese garden.
The most peaceful and beautiful place in the heart of Portland. An urban sanctuary.
Portland is joining with its sister city of Suzhou, China to build this great garden, and there's a place for you as a volunteer
or as the proud sponsor of a roof tile. Leave your mark on Portland history. Call for details.
The classical Chinese garden will connect our communities. We're proud of K2's support. Can we count on yours too?
And we're back for a few final thoughts. Mayor Campbell, when we started this project, we talked to a lot of city governments around the country. Those that had been actively thinking about it and had plans didn't want to talk about it because they were afraid of giving away too much. Those who had not thought about it at all didn't want to come and talk about it because they didn't want to convey the impression that they hadn't thought about it. Now that we've had this conversation, what do you think we need to be doing?
This program and this series, I think, has been helpful in alerting the American public that there is a false sense of security that we all enjoy. The greatest benefit of this country is our freedom, our ability to go anywhere, say what we want, do what we like. But the potential for this biological terrorism means that we must reassess where we are, how we plan, and what we do in the future. So to that degree, it has certainly helped our city, because we will take the necessary steps in the future to become a part of this planning process, working in conjunction with public health agencies, making certain that we are prepared in the event of an emergency.
One of the points you made to me, Ms. Winslow, before was it's not enough to think about it right now. Somehow you got to be able to sustain it. Have you figured out how to do that? In other words, sustain public interest, sustain the willingness of city governments to remain involved in an examination of this?
Well, as the mayor pointed out, we sustained an interest in a potential nuclear attack for 25 or 30 years because we had frequent exercises, retention drills in school as children, government exercises. We had reminders from the federal government to check our stockpiles. And I think we need to take the same approach to the potential for domestic terrorist activity.
That's actually a pretty horrifying notion because those preparations, in retrospect, seem pretty dumb. I mean, quite frankly.
But we hope this time, having benefited from that learning, that these are not single-purpose preparations, but dual-use preparations. And so the equipment we provide today will allow Dr. Parada to have a quicker response to the next flu outbreak. The equipment I buy for my police department today helps them have a safer response to any potential bomb event. These keep our troops interested. They keep the people actively involved in training because it's equipment, supplies, and plans that they can use for many types of events, but which will also make a big difference if there's a terrorist event.
Dr. Parada, is it a city-by-city, county-by-county, state government by state government operation, or does it need in some fashion to be federalized?
I think the answer will be something different from all of those. I really think that from now on we have to think in terms of teams instead of city and then state and then federal, or law enforcement versus public health. Because the problem is more than a public health problem. The response is more than an emergency response. The facilitation of this entire effort has to be something that we need to think about, working in teams and breaking down those barriers, having those discussions, even making sure that the media, that we know who the media are and they know who we are so that we can convey the message properly.
Commissioner Hauer, we thought long and hard about how terrifying to make it. And we think that what we did was sort of somewhere in the middle. In other words, as we look at those numbers, as we come close to the end of it, we're going to have over 50,000 dead and maybe another 10,000 who will survive. As you went through your own in New York City, I mean, New York City, if it ever happened there, these numbers would be relatively small, wouldn't they?
Well, they're realistic for a subway event, but depending on the nature of the event, they could be either smaller or they could be significantly greater. I think at least near term, if we have an event in this country, it will probably be a relatively modest event, a technically unsophisticated event. But as time goes on, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, the potential for an event like this or one even greater just grows bigger.
Can you leave people with a slightly reassuring? I mean, you've studied this for a long time, and you're probably, generally speaking at least, you may be the most rounded expert sitting here. Any positive conclusions?
Well, I think it's important for people to realize that we can prepare for this. No city will ever be 100% prepared, but I think if elected officials like the mayor focus on this issue, we can prepare both at the city level, at the state level, and the president has taken initiative to focus on this at the national level. I hope it doesn't happen. We all hope it doesn't happen, but I think the reality is at some point in our lifetime, one of these horrific events will happen.
On that rather gloomy note, let me thank you all very much. It has been both an exhausting, perhaps not an exhaustive examination, but I'm very grateful to each of you for coming here and being with us for these last 5 nights. Thank you. I'll be back in a moment.
When dentures dream, they see the perfect denture cleanser. One with the stain-fighting power of Efferdent and the freshening power of Listerine. Well, little friend, dream no more. It's really here. It's called Efferdent Plus. It's extra fresh, and nothing gets your dentures cleaner. Efferdent Clean and Listerine Fresh. That's Efferdent Plus.
You grew up on Dannon. For you, it was always about taste. But was it the real fruit, those healthy active cultures, or how Dannon fruit on the bottom is as rich in calcium as milk? Because 1,000 or so aces later, you're the world's best tennis player. Pete Sampras. Coincidence or Dannon?
The KATU Gold Sea School Spirit Coupon Book fundraiser is underway.
Students will be selling these books to raise money for their schools. There's the old favorite, the Gold Sea, and the bigger Values book.
With the 2 books, we hope to help local schools raise $2 million by the end of the year 2000.
The schools are counting on our support. Buy a book or 2 today.
Brought to you by your friendly Northwest Dodge dealers, Fred Meyer and KATU, the power of 2000. The Power of 2000 takes you back for a moment in time.
It was January 2nd, 1995. The Oregon Ducks playing their first Rose Bowl game in 37 years. They lost to Penn State, but just making it to the granddaddy of them all was a victory that every football fan in Oregon can be proud of.
Channel 2 News, sharing moments in time. Now and into the next millennium. Experience the power of 2000.
Proudly brought to you by Les Schwab Tire Centers.
The Power of 2000 now gives you the power of weather on the hour.
Get the latest local forecast every hour on the hour, 24 hours a day on Channel 2.
The station that delivers the power of Channel 2 News now brings you weather at the top of every hour.
When weather is your top priority,
3 to 2 at the top of every hour.
Experience Weather on the Hour. It's only on Channel 2, the power of 2000. Weather on the Hour is brought to you by Teplik Laser Surgery Centers.
The fact that the United States is indisputably the most powerful military nation in the world is not necessarily as reassuring, even for Americans, as you might think. What it means, among other things, is that our enemies are unlikely to launch a frontal attack against us. That, after all, would invite immediate and terrible retribution. What seems far more likely is the danger of a silent, anonymous assault, similar perhaps to the one that we've shown you these last few days. To the degree that we can prepare for such things by discussing the dangers and considering our options, we believe that we should. That's our report for tonight. I'm Ted Koppel in Washington. For all of us here at ABC News, Griff.
Chat online with bioterrorism expert Kyle Olson immediately following this broadcast at 12:05 Eastern Time. Just click on the Nightline link at abcnews.com.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.
Any real student of the game knows that knowledge is power. Score with education.
Saturday at 8/7 Central. Steven Seagal, Kurt Russell, and Halle Berry team up on the ABC Big Picture Show. Executive Decision. ABC Saturday at 8/7 Central.
We wanted to remodel our home but didn't know which contractor to choose. Oregon
What I do is take it, get rid of it.